Hello friends, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to my channel. This is Sheree and I wanted to share with you today a little craft I've been working on during my TV time, but this is an episode of hashtag use it or lose it. So yes, it has to do with scraps. So the thing that I wanted to use is my neutral scraps, and I've got quite a few. I had quite a few. I still have quite a few. So what I did was separate. This is the bag these were in. And I separated out the papery scraps from the cardstock scraps. So what I have left in here is all cardstock, like file folder pieces and scrapbook paper that is cardstock and things like that. So it's all thicker, cardstock. So that's in there. But this is all the papery bits. And I've been having this in my head. Again, I always say that, I know, but I don't know. I just always have these things rattling around in my head. These things I want to work on. Sometimes I write them down so I don't forget. But this one, since it's scraps, sometimes I'm just like, I just should throw all these away. But I don't really want to. So this is what I did. It's kind of a spin on making a master board, and we're going to do some together, but I just wanted to show you, and they came together so pretty. I really liked them, and it was just everything they're everything I was hoping they would be. So the reason I want them to be, I wanted to use the papery bits first, and the reason I wanted them to be papery and not and thinner is so that I could fold them in half and use them as kind of like Franken papers in journals, and pages in my journals with all the like Franken paper glued together. You could sew on these, I guess, but I'm just gluing them together. I'm using the Craft Bond Permanent Extra Strength Glue Stick by Elmer's, and that is a really good permanent glue. The purple glue is not permanent, the little washable one. That is not permanent, and it might not stay if you use that one. It might not stay glued together. So, and it probably won't. So that's why I use that Craft Bond Extra Strength. And so I'm just going to, we're going to do some together, but I want to show you how these came out. Just randomly put these together, but I kind of tried not to put the same color or the same thing, next to each other, so that it all has all different pieces. And so it's like I said, it's like a master board, but I'm not gluing pieces down onto another paper or onto like a file folder or some type of cardstock. It's just pieces of paper glued together. So let me flip through and show you what I've been working on. I don't know if I worked on these last week or these are all just, what I mean is in the past 1 week, not in the past 2 weeks. I think this is just the past 1 week worth of things pieces of paper I've been gluing together. So what I do when I glue them together, I just overlap them a little bit. It's pretty self-explanatory and simple, but just so you know, overlap them a little bit. I put a lot of glue on I've gone through so many glue sticks, but fortunately they're not too expensive. They're not cheap, but they're not too expensive. And then I kind of glue them down, and then I kind of turn it over and look to see if there's any loose pieces over here and put glue there. So like here's a little, like this is not really bad, but I could stand a little bit of glue right there. So that's what I do. I just make sure everything is, and before I put them in a journal, I would also check it again probably and make sure. So I'll just like say I glued that little piece down, and sometimes I'll just go over it too, over the top of it, and make sure it's all kind of glued down, because this disappears and you don't really even know if it's on top like that. You don't see anything shiny, or you don't know it's there. So as I'm doing them when I'm watching TV, I just lay them over to the side after I get one done and let it dry, and then I'll check it again before I put them away and make sure they're all done and glued down. And then before I use them in a journal, as I'm putting them into journals, I'll check them again. Make sure everything stayed where I put it and make sure there's nothing coming up. But that's one. So I'm going to just flip through so you can see that they really are scraps. Like here's a little something right there. Now I was thinking on see that little piece right there, that would be hard to get my glue stick under there. So I might just take my art glitter glue, if I can get it open here. And since I have that little nozzle on there, just go ahead and stick that under that little crack there and put a little bit of that in there, because this also dries. It coming out? Yeah. Put some of that in there and make sure it's glued down. So, but the idea is for me to show you these right now. But I love this one. It has, they're all from all different things, and you know, this is like something I printed out, graph paper, we got coffee dyed paper, some book page, a scrap there, book page there, so you get the idea. Here's the back. So both sides look really cool. See, here's another loose piece right here. That's big enough for me to get my glue stick under. So I just go like this. I do it literally go back and forth like that and make sure there's plenty of glue under there. So, oh, here's another loose piece. And you can't help it. It's like, you know, it's when you're actually doing it, it's, you know, you might think it's all glued down, but then, you know, especially on the back, because I'm making sure this side's glued down, and I try to turn it over before I put it to the side to dry, but then, you know, you just have to go back and check is all. Not a big deal. You know, I haven't put them in a journal yet, so here's another piece. And sometimes you feel like you have so much glue on there, you just need to let it dry and see where you're at. You know what I mean? It's like you can't tell once you're done with your first little bit of gluing there when you get it all together. And the size is, I was using, these are hymn book pages, and I was kind of using this as a guide, like double this. Let's see, this was one I glued together. These are 2 book pages. I'll show you this in a second. I was also working on another project at the same time. If I got tired of doing this, I would work on these. But it's kind of like, see how it's like 1, 2 of those. This is a pretty good size for a journal page, and I might have to trim it down a little, but that's what I went with. So, you know, they don't have to be perfect. You can, after you're all done, you get ready to put them in a journal. Of course, you can trim them down just like you would anything, but it's the idea is using, my idea is to use them as a page and not like a masterboard where you cut it up and make journal cards and tags. So that's the second one. These are not in any type of order, just I'm going to try and flip through a little quicker. I'll do the gluing later. I'll check them later. Like there's another piece I need to check there, but I'll go back and do that later. I just wanted to flip through here and show you how cool they are. And then I got to use up a lot of scraps that I really wanted to, just because they were building and building, and I just was like, I have to use these or I'm just gonna, you know, go crazy and throw them all away because they're just getting to be overwhelming. So I've been working on it. There's some Braille paper there and lots of little papers. This is actually a book spine right here, a very old one. You can probably tell. This is a very old book spine, but it wasn't cardstocky. It was more really soft and like paper. So I think it's actually some kind of like canvas or something, but it just was so soft and pliable that I used it here. And look how cool it looks in there. Very cool. A lot of little pieces here. And this is some paper from, like tissue paper here, from your creative studio. There's the little sticker. I even left that on there and just glued it all down. So, very cool. Here's some pieces here. This was a page from a book, a whole page. And then I just went from there. And I try to do them, you know, turn them every which way, so it's not, everything's not going this way or this way. You know, you can see I turn them every which way. American Dog Kennel Dog Record book there. So, all kinds of interesting things are on here. So you can see I did a lot. Now this is the last ones that I did. I just showed you. This is, I think I started off with these and I was making them a little bigger. And I was like, then I started thinking, oh, I might be making these too big and I don't want to have to cut them down. And I don't want to, you know, like if I have to cut this off, then what am I going to do with that? I'm going to be making a scrap. I didn't really want to have to do that. So then I started making them a little smaller, but this is a pretty good size one. But it's a really beautiful, really beautiful. This is an old certificate here, like from, doesn't have the date on here, but it was like 1920s or something, this right here. So there's all kinds of old and new papers all put together. So the front and back would be showing in a journal. So I love all the color when there's a lot of colors like this. As far as their neutrals, like maybe that's not a neutral, but still, you just look at the, even if you don't look at that like greenish one, look at all the different neutrals there. I think they're so pretty together. This one too, this has some handwriting on it. This one too, looks like a piece of a recipe. Just really cool. Here's the back of that one, the music and everything. And we're almost done. This is the last one. As you can see, lots of different book pages, music. This is an embossed piece right here. I think I embossed that one as one of my experiments when I first got some of my embossing folders. I don't have that many, I have a couple, but really cool. And this is the one I'm working on now. So all I did was take it in there. Let me get this up from the cardboard here. I must have glued it down to the cardboard a little bit. But yeah, there's glue on here. And so I had this piece of cardboard. It's about 8.5 by 11 in the living room. And my scraps and my glue and just glued away. So I had started on this one last night and then TV time was over. So I didn't get to finish it, but you can see where I'm at. And this is all the papery bits I have left, which doesn't look like much maybe, but it still is a lot of little pieces. And I had divided them into 2 stacks last night. I have them all together right now, but there were like little pieces and bigger pieces. Like I think these are the littler pieces here. And then I had the bigger pieces. So I'm trying to kind of use both, but it just depends on the size. So you can see if I'm going by my hymn book page, I've got this, and then I would be like, okay, I've got half of it. Now I need about this much more, and it's about the size of this cardboard too. It really is. So kind of if it's going over the cardboard, then I know it's getting too big. See how it's about the size of the cardboard? So I only need a little bit more here and here, and I would be done with this piece. So all I'm doing is just looking for pieces that will fit here. So, and I'm trying to kind of do them upright, you know what I mean? Like not too many sideways and all of that, because all of these right here are upright that have writing on them or pictures. So this one has writing on it, and if I put it right here, it would be sideways. So I don't know if I'll use that, but there's another one here that same color, and that could go right here, and it wouldn't be sideways. So let's go for that. Here's my glue. And so, you know, real easy to do something like this. You can still watch a show if you're, or if you want to take this on vacation or camping or wherever, even to work on during your lunch break. It could be done, pretty easily done with just a few things. So, you know, just all I did was do that. You know, just glue it together. I always kind of lift it up to make sure I'm not gluing it to my cardboard there. And I would, as I would go, if I got too much glue on the cardboard, then I turn it over, and then this side will dry, and then you can use the other side while that side dries. And then that's why I kept flipping the cardboard to get it dry, as it dried, to get a dry side. But we have graph paper here, and I have quite a few pieces of graph paper, so I'm not going to grab any of those at the moment. So let's see. And I have a lot of, see how this is a plain like coffee dyed paper. This is from a book, I think. These feel like they're from a book. They're not coffee dyed. But I still would like, see, I'm just go through and find something different from what I already have, but the right size. So down here I need something a little bit longer to make it over to where I'm working here. So see, this could go down here. I've already got 2 of that color though. So let's see what else I have here. Here's a cute little piece here. This is something I printed out sometime. So I could go ahead and use that there. Actually, it might look prettier with a lighter piece here since we've got these. So let's go ahead and use that. Let's go ahead. This is from a book too, like from a flyleaf or something. So let's go ahead and use that. See how I'm just lining it up over here evenly so that in the end it's all done. I don't have to cut any of it off unless when I'm putting it in a journal it's too big. That's the only time I would cut it off, but right now it's like the size I'm going for. Well, here's a little copy of a letter front. Let's put that down here. We're almost over to our little, where we're going for here. This is what where I'm going to end right there. So I just have to put some glue here. So yeah, I've been seeing people doing, I mean, we all do our Franken pages and things and our master boards, and I don't know if anyone's done anything exactly like this because I'm not planning on decorating these. I feel like they're already kind of like decorated because I'm using so many different pieces of paper. But of course you could add decoration to these if you wanted to. I probably would leave them in a journal like this and then let somebody, if whoever gets the journal, do what they will with it type of thing. Oh, this would be perfect right here now. Well, maybe not perfect, but it has this little cutout here at the bottom. So what I might do is, because I think this is really pretty, I will cut this off right here. Go ahead and just cut that off so I have an even edge and put it right here. So, and I try not to, like, you know how I am, I don't like to cover up things. Like, I'm almost hesitating right there because there's a pretty stamp right there. But I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to stop because now that's covered up, but I'm just going to go with it. Just using up scraps. And then, see, now I just need a little piece there, so I want something different than all of these colors. So, let's see, this is a little different, but it doesn't quite reach. I got a little space there, so I need something a little bigger, but not too big. Let's see what I have here. See, as I use up my scraps, it gets a little harder to find the right shape. So I have to keep digging through to find the right shape, and I could do two pieces here. This is a really cute piece there. I wish it was a little bit wider so I could cover up this whole area though. See, here's a skinny one, but that's a little bit too narrow also. These are too narrow. This is like almost too big, but I could cut it. I think I will. This is a piece of paper bag that I stenciled on with coffee, or, oh, it was coffee ink color, probably. So I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to fold it right here. Most of them I didn't have to cut, but now, like I said, I'm getting down to kind of like the nitty-gritty of the end of my papers, the papery papers. So, you know, if I have to cut them to use them up, that's what I have to do. So, and like right now I know that's not enough glue, but I'm going to go ahead and stick it down and then see where I need more glue. Like I know I need some more right here to get this all solidly glued. Okay, so that is done, considering that done. So there it is, there's the next one. See now it's kind of sticking, but I got to pull it up from my cardboard there, and I move it over to another spot so I can stick that back down. A dry spot, a dryish spot. Okay, I'm going to turn it over too. And then this side looks like it's all glued down, solid. Let's turn it over. See, this needs some right here. A lot. This needs a lot. So see how I go back? I go back and forth 3 or 4 times to make sure I have enough glue on there. I'm really peeling that up to make sure I have enough glue on there. And then, see, I don't see anything else coming up. And those other ones that I showed you at first, especially the bigger ones, those have been sitting for days and they look like they were all glued down, but I still would check them before I put them in a journal. And one thing is to leave them alone and let them dry and don't move them around too much, because you can pull them apart just by moving them around, and like what I'm doing right now. So I need to put it down, let it dry. But isn't that nice? if you like Franken papers and you like using up your scraps, I would highly, if you've never done this, I would tell you to try it, because I think you will be pleasantly surprised if you're not sure that you would like it or something. I don't know if you can tell how pretty these are in the camera. Maybe you can, but see, here's a little strip. This was a solid piece here. This is a piece of a recipe, it looks like. And then this is a book page that I had thrown in my scraps because I just like numbers, things with numbers on them. And this was a little scrap that had a page number on it, and I just threw that in my scraps, and I just glued it on top of there. It wasn't anything that I needed to glue onto something else to fill in the space or anything. I just love that little book page, and I put it right there. So, things like that you can use up by, like this. You can do your whole thing, and say you have some, maybe if you're, like that, you like the book pages or some little thing that you like, you can go ahead and glue the little things on there too, like that, to use them up if you don't have anywhere else to use them. So that's that. That's the Franken pages without any backing, just paper scraps glued together, okay? And the other thing I was doing, and I want to do more of, and these are not done, but just to give you another idea of what I'm working on and what you can do. So you know how I made the book page tags, sewed around them, and I showed you how I am putting a little acetate stamp on them, not a stamp, a sticker. I showed you that. That was in yesterday's video. If you haven't seen that, just go back one day and watch that video. But I want to do that same thing. So those are just the tags I showed you yesterday, and then I have one set of 12 in my shop. They're just blank, so someone can get them and decorate them and use them how they wish. But I want to do that same thing with different book pages, like so. Those are just text. I want to do the same thing with music. Let's see, did I make any music ones yet? Oh, here they are. Here's three music ones. So these are just 2 pages, 2 hymn book pages glued together. So what I did was I didn't want to waste my glue. So I didn't want to put glue all over 2 hymn book pages, let them dry, cut them out, because that would be a lot of glue wasted, because I'm not saving the scraps from the cutting around of this. So what I did was cut my tag shapes and then glue them together so that I don't waste my glue. And then I'm going to sew around these. So these are going to be the same thing, but music book page tags, yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to do is some of my scraps I used. I took 2 of the hymn book whole pages, glued them together, folded them in half. And these are some of the scraps too, the neutral papery scraps. See, that's a piece of a recipe, and some other little pieces here I just used to decorate. And then I put a piece of coffee dyed paper in here on this one. And this is kind of an experiment too, because like now this one is split right here. First of all, I need to glue this down some more. But these are very old hymn book pages. And so this one is splitting right here. So I would need to reinforce that spine, but what I could do is just take a scrap and fold it over, fold it in half and make a little, I could use fabric too, but since I have this paper right here, I'll just show you. And of course you know what I'm going to do, I'm sure, but I would just do this and it'll look perfectly fine. So just take your glue, make sure you have enough on there on both sides, make a little covering line for your spine, and you're fixing that little crack. So there we go, and that looks really cute for a journal. So the idea is to have kind of like use them like a little card, or you could call it a journaling spot, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter what you call it. There's so many different names for things, it doesn't even matter. You can make up a new name. But see there, we fixed that. And you can put one on the inside if you want. It probably actually needs something on the inside too, some more reinforcement and gluing, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not done with these. I'm just kind of sharing the idea here. So making little cards type of thing, like it could be done after I finish gluing, and maybe put maybe another decoration here, or it could be left like that because it's just a really journaly looking type of almost grungy looking place journaling spot. And then so that, just that, or you can take one. Let's see, I've glued some paper in all of these probably. Let me see if there's one. Oh, here's one I haven't glued any paper inside. It's not, I just have 2 hymn book pages glued together. But I could put some papers in here, a few papers cut up, and make pages and have a little booklet. Here's a smaller one. These are just too small. There were 2 small book pages that I had coffee dyed. They were smaller, and they were very, very old. So I glued 2 together, and again, I did put some coffee dyed paper in here, I see, and a couple of pieces from my scraps. And so now it's a writing spot. So just some more ideas that I'm doing, trying really hard to use some different book pages. So I'm really excited about all of this, but I really kind of can't wait to do some more tags with different papers. Like I want to do some, these are the music, and you saw the textbook, with text on the pages, and I want to do some like dictionary, things like that out of different book pages that are kind of have a theme like this, like music or whatever. So you get I think you get the picture. So I want to share all that kind of mobile crafting and use it or lose it type of thing with you today, and just what I'm doing with that. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed, and if you haven't tried some of these things and you have some of these things to use up, that you'll try it. Let me know how it goes, or if you have an idea of something else. There's so many ideas, but if you have a specific idea that you're really excited about, maybe something new that no one's heard of, let me know. Anyway, I will see you in my next video. Have a great day, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for my next, you'll be notified of my next video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you later.